back to another week of BP Kids Online.
And we are happy to see you here.
We're going to be continuing our series, Promise.
And we're going to have tons of fun.
Are you ready, Bukola?
Yeah! Let's go!
Our memory verses found in the Bible and the Old Testament in the book named Joshua in chapter 21, verse 45. And it says, "The Lord kept all the good promises he had made to the Israelites. Every one of them came true."
Over the past year, we've been learning about different people in the Bible. David, Esther, Peter, Jesus, and so many more. But how did we get there? Where did it all begin? When God first created the world, it was paradise. But it's not always easy for us to imagine a perfect world where nothing needs to be fixed, especially when we hear sad or scary news about the world we live in today. But even though the world today isn't exactly perfect, there's good news. Even though things sometimes go wrong, God's promises can always be trusted. So boys and girls, get ready for Promise. It's Blossom, the nature lady! It's Blossom!
We're back with Blossom. And now, kids, we're gonna look at me as a blossom. Kind of like this flower. The flower was once like really tiny, but then it became a bloom, and it became the beautiful flower that's there right now. Isn't it beautiful? Don't we look alike? When those little blooms were tiny, we were expectant of a flower. And then, all of a sudden, they bloom and they become beautiful. It makes me think about God's promises. His promises are for now and for later. Just like in the moment when, with the little blossom, that's now. And then later it blooms. And we know that next year we'll get flowers again. Isn't that amazing?
It's Blossom!
Hey guys, it's Kiana, and today's Bible story comes from the book of Genesis. We are reading in Genesis 12, starting at verse 1. The Lord had said to Abram, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's family, and go to the land that I will show you." So Abram went, just as the Lord had told him, and Lot went as well. Abram was 75 years old when he left. I want you guys to think for a moment. 75? Are some of your grandparents that age? Just think about them leaving where they're from to go somewhere else. He took his wife Sarah and his nephew Lot. They took all the people and all the possessions they had and went to Haran. They started out for the land of Canaan, and they arrived there. Abram traveled through the land. He went as far as the large tree, and at that time the Canaanites were living in the land. The Lord appeared to Abram, and he said, "I will give you this land to your family who comes after you." So Abram built an altar there to honor the Lord. He honored the Lord who had appeared to him. From there, Abram went on toward the hills east of Bethel. He set up his tent there, and Bethel was to the west and Ai to the east. Abram built an altar there and called on the name of the Lord. And now we're going to move into Genesis 15, And it says, sometime later, Abram had a vision, and the Lord said to him, Abram, do not be afraid. I am like a shield to you. I am your great reward. But Abram said, Lord, what can you give me? I still don't have any children. My servant comes from Damascus. When I die, he will get everything that I own. Abram continued, you haven't given me any children. So the servant of mine will get everything. Then a message from the Lord came to Abram. The Lord said, when you die, what you have will not go to this man, but you will have a son of your own, and he will get everything you have. The Lord took Abram inside and said, look up at the sky. Count the stars if you can. Then he said to him, that's how many children will be born into your family. Abram believed the Lord, and the Lord was pleased with Abram because he believed. So Abram's family and his faith had made him right with the Lord. So that reminds us of our big idea for today, and that is that God's promises are for now and for later. The promise that God gives Abram now is that he is going to have a child. And the promise that will come later is the generations and generations to come from that child. And like we talked about, the stars that are in this story. So that reminds us that God keeps his promises and that his promises are for now and for later. So this reminds me of a time in my life where I was going through something. I'm actually still going through it, but I have something called epilepsy. If you guys don't know what that is, basically it's something where you have seizures. If you don't know what a seizure is, it's a bunch of different things could happen to different people. But when I have them, I kind of go blank and my head, I get a headache and I go dizzy and I just can't really see when it's happening, and a lot of different things happen. But I got epilepsy when I was about 16 years old. I had it for a few years and it was really hard because I would just have these random episodes out of nowhere. And I had a vision one day where I was having a seizure and God touched me and said, Kiana, you are fine. And the seizure went away. So then the next time that I went to the doctor, I was healed. But then something not so fun happened. About a year later, I got epilepsy again. And this past few years, my seizures have gotten worse, and I have really bad ones sometimes. But for the most part, I am on medication and they control the seizures, and I haven't been healed again yet, but I am believing that God is going to heal me sometime soon. So that reminds me that God's promises are for now and for later.
Guess what? It's CocaCola Moments with Coca-Cola! Except for I'm taking over! We're gonna have a great time. I promised Bucola that I would do my leprechaun dance for you guys. You ready? Let's go.
week of BP Kids Online. I hope you're enjoying our new series on Promise. You almost gave me a heart attack. You're so fast to be scared. That was awesome. Follow us on Instagram and we will see you next week.